Welcome to another edition of C.O.P.E. And C.O.P.E stands for Community's Own and Personal Elevation. And we come to you from Hard Rock Cafe Broadcasting on channel 58 and 158 on the Cornwall Communications Network. As usual, it's a pleasure. My name is Warren Johnson and I'm the host for this program. As is clearly seen, sometimes we get a little bit mixed up. But there's some things I'm never mixed up about. And one of the things is that we have to call out our politicians, get them to make their mark. We give them positions of responsibility and they ought to carry it out with alacrity, cheerful readiness, a willingness to serve the people and to do what is right by the people. And I'll tell you this, many years ago, I was in the presence where an interview was being conducted with a noted politician. Spent 9 years in the seat as a mayor, and he was asked what would be his legacy, what is his signature achievement that he would leave for the people. And he said the abattoir. No one told me this, is not hearsay. I was right there when I heard that. Needless to say, I was shocked out of my wits. Abattoir as a signature of your tenure in service to the people. He thinks that's not enough. And he thinks we mark too low. The bar is set too low for a politician. The bar is set too low for too many things. And that is why we have the kind of society that we have. Fast forward to 2018. And I heard another politician spending some 30 odd years, at least 5 terms, in a constituency, and when he was asked what was his signature, what was his mark, he said his relation with the people relationship that he has developed over the years. What is that? What is that? Is that what we send representatives to Parliament and to the various bodies of government to build personal relationships? Or do we send them there to make their positive mark and impact on the society to better the lives of the citizenry they put forth to represent? That is not representation. And as a people, we ought to demand more and demand better from our politicians because we want better for ourselves. And if we don't even want better for ourselves, we should want it for our children. No more should we have politicians going into representation where they're taking care of themselves and not taking care of the nation. Instead of being a politician, you know what that is? Being a parasite. And that is what I would call that. And I tell you, I have with me today a young man by the name of Mark McGann who I'm going to be interviewing shortly. And I know that this is a man cut from different cloth because he certainly intends to make his mark. Politicians, remember that. When you go to office representing the people, you must make your mark. You're not making the mark on behalf of yourself, you're making it on behalf of the people you put forth to represent. You can look up that word there too. I have with me today a young political mind and a gentleman of a wonderful, fine fellow, I would say. I've known him for quite a number of years, and I know he's a very serious individual, and great things are expected of him. He's the councillor for the Somerton Division, and it gives me pleasure to welcome to C.O.P.E. Mark McGann.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. How are you today?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. A little bit down by what you have said about the political process, but I understand it. It's something that we hear from time to time. I'm hoping I can fix some of your...
And I know you're a little bit sensitive when it comes to some of these things. And sensitivity is good, because sensitivity is connectivity to the public. And what usually happens is when people get elected to office is that they forget the electorate. Now, what has really happened to make you want to step into representation of politics?
Well, for me, what had happened is that I think I was very critical of the political process and critical of the representation in my community. And I used to write a lot to the newspapers and social media and so on. And I was actually challenged by my member of parliament, and he said, you know what, you have a lot to say. How about trying to make a difference? Why don't you enter the political arena? You know, so I give you, and for me it was a platform to make some changes that I thought would be beneficial to my community. You know? So that was one. The other aspect of it is that I just say you call me young, but I think I'm getting over in a little bit arena. And I think that everybody is put here for a purpose.
Yes.
And I think that you have to leave your community on this earth, and you have to have made a mark in one way. You have to make an impact on people's lives. And I think this is my way of doing it.
Service is important to you. Well, I noticed you enter the political arena on the JLP side. If an MP from the PNP side had called you and said, well, challenge you similarly, would it have been the same thing, or is it that traditionally you support that side of the argument?
You know what? And it's one of those running jokes that we have. That when I put up my nomination picture on Facebook, the first person to comment on it was my mother, and her comment was, "Boy, where did I go wrong?" So I can't tell you that it's from a traditional no.
Yeah.
I support the Jamaica Labour Party, Warren, because I honestly believe that Jamaica needs a foundation on which to build. You know what I mean? And that foundation has been eroded. We haven't grasped it as yet. And it's my belief that the Jamaica Labour Party is the right party to build that foundation. It don't matter the low-hanging fruits that you can try and fix the economy. You can bring tourists here. You know what I mean? But you need a foundation for your citizens to reap the benefits of this country. And I believe that the Jamaica Labour Party is the party that is known, that has done it, and is capable of building that foundation.
Okay. When you look at it, viewers out there and even myself would want to bring you to the floor and wrestle you on the mat vigorously and say, okay, how would you stand up to that? I don't know if I really want our interview necessarily to be taken up with that, but at the same time you've made some very strong position or statements that would require one to ask, what would you cite as the evidence that the Jamaica Labour Party is the best vehicle to carry Jamaica forward, realizing our political history and where we're coming from? Where would you cite this evidence, and what are you the foundations on which you would base that argument?
Right. It's the philosophy, and I think it's eroded just based on the perception out there, you know. But you see, and I'm going to say something here, and I'm going to back it up, and I'm going to hold it, and this is my words. You see, Jamaica, Warren. Jamaica is for Jamaicans. No matter who comes here to enjoy it, the Jamaicans first and foremost must enjoy it. So we have to look after our Jamaican people. You know what I mean? We have to put in infrastructure that the Jamaican people have a quality of life. You know what I mean? When you look at our music, when you look at our communities, these are what attracted people here to begin with. You know what I mean? Now, roads, water, hospitals, schools. Our track record on the Jamaica Labour Party is second to none in putting in these things. This is what made Jamaica the great nation of the 70s and the 80s coming up. This is what attracted people to come here. We need to get back to there. Selling all the assets to foreign entities and so on is not the way. You know what I mean? We need employment, yes, but we also need that the local man can say, yes, this is my country, love my country. Why? I can walk on that road. There's land there for farming. There's opportunities for school. You know what I mean? These are the things that the Labour Party believes in, and these are the things that the Labour Party has done.
You know, I sit from where I sit, you know, and there are many a times that I've had to confront myself because I don't know what it is that drives me politically so much. I'm a political animal. Maybe because I know, and a lot of people believe they can just divorce themselves from politics because it doesn't affect them. I, on the other hand, know that politics is a significant footprint in our lives. Yes. And if the foot is misplaced, it's going to cause tremendous damage.
And you are right, Warren, because you see, the problems are many. I mean, the pledge tells you, the national anthem tells you, the problems that we face are many.
Yes.
And there's no quick fix to it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But while you're working on the no issues, you know, the unemployment, the exports and so on, you still have to find time to build a foundation. Because if you give a man, if an investor comes to Jamaica and you give him a building to put in, right, for even BPO, and you don't educate your nation to be able to speak properly that the BPO person can understand what he's saying, then it goes to naught. You know what I mean? If they can't get to work on time, then it goes to naught. Then the people going to leave, they're going to go somewhere that has that foundation. You know what I mean? So while you're doing that, you have to pay attention to the foundation. And I think that is what my party does. You can't get lost in the demands of no. You know what I mean? You have to realize what the foundations are.
You know, we're hurting politically on so many fronts. And when I look, sometimes I kid you not, it almost would drive me, apart from driving me up the wall, it would drive you to tears to see the underperformance that has taken place. And I can name names right across the board on both sides of a fence. The colors are blended. And I don't even know, right now my chemistry is very weak. When you blend red and green, what color you get? You understand? But that is what is happening in our environment. There's enough blame to go around. As a relatively young politician on the scene, and I know I wouldn't even want to conclude. I want to ask if you have political aspirations for stepping up the ladder.
I mean, I want to serve. I want to serve, and in any way that I can, I will. You know what I mean? So if I think that my message or my ability to make a difference would require me to be at a different level, yes.
As councillor, what are some of the challenges you face, both within the council in terms of getting things done, and what are some of the needs, immediate needs in your constituency?
What a lot of people don't understand is that the councillor is basically the face of the local person. Every single individual in your division have access to you because you live there, you work there, you are there every day. You have to be there. So all the demands and all the issues come to you first before they go to anywhere else. You have very meager resources in which to
address these needs.
Right? So you have to find a way, and you have to look at a bigger picture as what is the best thing to do so that it affects everybody and not just one individual. You know what I mean? A skills training program. A primary school that needs books for GSAT. You know what I mean? A motivational speed. You know, you have to look at a wider picture. Why are you there? How can you make an impact?
Now, as you mentioned, the primary school that needs books. As an outsider looking in, I would ask myself, isn't the Minister of Education who is supposed to address and deal with that so that it comes right across the board rather than a councillor having to be saddled with something like that? Something as trying to find books.
There's a thing called collective responsibility.
Yes.
And collective responsibility has various meanings. But if you enter the political process and you are elected for a division, all of that is your responsibility. It's not just the bushing of a road or the drain cleaning, what the council does. Everything, the public health aspect of it. You know what I mean? The physical planning, the needs of the kids. Those are yours.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So to bring it to the higher level.
Yeah, man.
And to ensure that it gets addressed.
And even not at the higher level, but Hard Rock Cafe is here. If
Yeah.
Hard Rock Cafe has a foundation, I want to assist with something. It is my job to go out there and find the ways and means. Said, hey, Hard Rock, you know what I mean? If you want to give back to a community,
Yeah.
I have this program. Would you like to come?
Precisely.
You know what I mean? You can't divorce yourself from the responsibility.
In the short stint that you've been in, what have you been able to do, and what more is left? I know roads. When we look at it, the network of roads throughout Jamaica is in deplorable condition, and I am wondering at sometimes why a little creativity can be exercised to get some of these roads fixed. What are you doing to get your roads fixed, and is it possible to fix them? What you have to appeal to the national thread bag, or can you find other means?
You know what? And I have fixed many roads. Well, I fixed many roads. You know, I can't list them out. But you know, roads have not been the most pleasurable thing I've done.
Yes.
My member of parliament, when one of the things that I even decided to go as a councillor for Minister Barclay is one of the programs that he has. Every primary school in my division gets GSAT books. Every student that can attain 80 and over in GSAT gets a scholarship. Notwithstanding the person that has tried,
Yeah.
you assist also.
Yeah.
And this one has been the greatest impact that I've been part of and that I have joined in
Yeah.
for me.
So the educational component then of nation building is very important.
Very important.
Why isn't this being practiced on a national basis? Because part of my frustration as a citizen, and even with my responsibility now to conduct this interview, is why the piecemeal approach to so many of these things. Like Warren is over here and he's running a scholarship, funding some children and whatever. Where if the national body realizes that there's this great demand and need for educating our populace and put the necessary resources in place, that could be easily achieved, because the situation is as it is. The nation is littered with under and uneducated people.
I disagree with you, Warren. You know why I disagree? Let me
Yes.
tell you. What I realize with media. Media don't want to hear about those issues. If there is a shooting downtown Montego Bay,
Yes.
and there's a graduation for, say, kids with special needs, and you invite the media, which way you think they're going to come?
They're going to the shooting.
Exactly.
Most of them going to the shooting.
We don't want to hear about
And
those
that's
things.
the truth.
We don't want to hear about, Warren, a little kid from, say, my Summerton,
Yeah.
right, gets 97 in GSAT, right? It comes in the Star, it comes in the Observer. Because you guys think that it's an anomaly.
Yeah.
It's
Anomaly.
something big.
Yes,
No.
yes, yes.
This is what the teachers are there for.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for, to make the kids succeed. You know what I mean? It's not a big thing. That's what they're there for. That's what they should do.
Yes.
You understand? So we need to stop paying attention to the sensationalism of the news.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Pay attention to these foundations.
You see, that is an indictment on the media, of which I am a part of.
Yes.
And
Yes, I have
there's
to
guilt. There's guilt there, because there's this mantra that is noised about, that sensationalism sells. And not many of us are on the bandwagon. And I understand and agree with you perfectly that the media needs to show more responsibility. The macabre headlines and things like that, yes, they grab attention and they sell papers.
I have a kid who comes from this community called Lottery.
Yes.
Last week or 2 weeks ago, he set the national college high jump record for Louisiana. It appeared nowhere at all. It never appeared anywhere at all.
Did you do a public relations release on it, a press release?
Why should I do it? Because this is what you need to inspire
Yes.
the other rest of kids to say,
Yes.
a man from we're on Summerton Road
Yeah,
Lottery
can you imagine?
can do that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It never made the Mirror. It never
yes.
made the Observer. You understand? But what made it? Why? A shooting
take place.
You know what I mean? A scamming in Christiana. You know what I mean? These are the things that sells the newspaper, I guess, and these are the things that are important. But a little kid out of nowhere, as said, the college high jump record, college long jump record, him come from a little district up in the bush.
Well, and that isn't even Foreign Press, you know. Lord Lara had done a song at some point. You might be familiar with it, called Foreign Press.
Foreign Press.
So
You know what I mean?
it brings that to mind.
But these are the things that we need to feed our kids. Feed into them, say, it is possible, it is possible, it is possible, it is done. This person has done it. You know what I mean? That's how you build a nation, Warren. You don't build a nation based on what the latest DJ type of gun or car him have or what him lyrics is. This is how you show a little man that him wake up in the morning and the first thing when him wake up, him do have no breakfast and then you beat into him, say, boy, you're not going to make it. And you're not telling him enough, you're just showing him, say, listen, you don't have no breakfast, you can't go to school, your shoes tear up, you don't have on proper khaki, you're dirty. You know what I mean? You're not going to make it. So I'm already beaten. You know what I mean? So you give him an inspiration story. His next door neighbor that had the same issues as him, he's making it. It can be done. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
And Nigel Clark, you know what I mean? He's a Rhodes Scholar from very humble beginnings.
Mark, you know, one of the things as a nation that we struggle with, our history is one that comes up out of slavery, the oppression and all the negative things that surrounded that. A lot of people, and I guess some people are dismissive of things. Rhodes Scholarship is something that a black man has to take, you know, especially if he's aware of his history and knowledge of himself. He has to take that with some type of reservation and consternation, you know. I don't know.
I don't agree with you.
You don't agree with me?
I know Mr.
All right, you know Cecil Rhodes.
Cecil Rhodes. I know you're going, but guess what, Ryan? The Rhodes Scholar from Jamaica that got that scholarship beat out nearly 200 countries in the world to get that scholarship. No, here I'm saying. I know, fine, Cecil Rhodes was whatever he did. I wasn't there, I don't know, but them say Cecil Rhodes did what he did. But the Jamaican kid beat out all them Commonwealth countries to get that scholarship. He made it, Warren. So regardless of who the person is behind it.
What if Hitler? What if Hitler had a scholarship?
You know what I believe in?
Yeah.
It's not, them say the ends justify the means.
You think a Jew would have accepted a scholarship from Hitler?
I don't know.
No, he would not.
But I don't know.
He would not. What makes us so different?
Warren, when you're faced with certain challenges, right? But you have the ambition as to where you want to go, right? You need a vehicle to get there. If the Rhodes Scholarship gives you that vehicle to get there so you can make a difference, then use it.
Isn't it unfortunate that that is the way that we've go? Because right now there's a fight taking place in political circles about some of the aspersions that were cast, and not necessarily about the Rhodes Scholarship, because people wouldn't even take as much offense about it as they did about some of the other things. But you know, I don't even want to go there, because all of these things to me muddy the water and present argument for distractions and quarreling and whatever. And you know, while we're quarreling, what happens? The work gets undone. Because we're busy with the quarreling and the fighting over what? I'm on social media and I see the comment and I'm asking myself, black people, is this what you're defending? What is there to defend about this? It has been said, and there's a context to it that is part of our history that we're not supposed to be defending and be proud of. You know, I look on all the time and I've wondered why it is that governments, and you have governments that are radical and so on and so forth, don't change this Lady Musgrave Road and stop giving our children Musgrave medals and things like that. And there are quite a number of other things to be done. Why are we not that conscious? You know, until we develop that level of consciousness, where are we going with the rest of us?
You know what?
You don't think that's important?
No, why? Let me say something to you.
Yes.
Let me say something to you. And I don't know if it's for a man that is, say, conscious about his history.
Yes.
And is conscious about
my
way
roots.
forward and his roots.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yes.
But for a man that is day-to-day struggle, right, is breaking the poverty of cycle, helping his family, right? How important is that to him? No, but understand where I'm going. Like, the advent of, or the experience of being prejudiced against.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a Jamaican, and I've lived on both continents, you know what I mean? I can't tell that I've experienced any form of prejudice. I'm sure I have, because I know that I recall it. I remember a man slamming the door in my face and said, boy, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
But guess what? I laugh at him. Because if he knew what I knew about the Jamaican spirit, he wouldn't even try that. Because I remember when, I say I'm a product of the 70s and 80s, when we had tourists coming into Jamaica at the time. And they were not important to us. They were not the very important people that we were making this out to be.
Yeah.
The tourists that came here had to enjoy what we enjoy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've worked in promotions as yourself, in big events, where stars have come from the States and they're here. And people are like, yeah, that is such and such. Boy, she looks skinny.
Yeah.
She look I can't go country and get some yam and dumpling and fatten her up a little bit. You know
And
what
that's
I mean?
it.
Yeah, but if they go to
But
other
that's part
places,
of the Jamaican culture.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And
We're not frightened like that.
That is the Jamaican psyche. You can't beat a Jamaican psyche. We are, Warren, when Jamaica was playing Brazil in the Gold Cup, this is when we had qualified.
Yeah.
I'm in a car, a bus, full of Jamaicans going to the match, right? And the argument inside of that bus was, yo, Brazil will get 6 today. Brazil, the #1 footballing nation in the world.
I get 6
get
from us.
6 today. And you can't tell a Jamaican says,
Yes.
say no. When the match ended, right? And I think we drew the match. I think it was 0-0. You know what was the argument? We weren't beaten. Yo, lucky them, top of 6. Lucky them, lucky. Warren, that is the Jamaican psyche. If you try to do anything else to the Jamaican psyche to make him say, because you see, I believe that you can be prejudiced against if you have an inferior mentality or state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for a proud Jamaican, you can't come to me with that.
You
can't put me down.
Yeah, right above that.
No,
Rise above that.
Yeah, man.
That is good. But in a broader sense, are we too individualistic? Because we have great Jamaicans individually. But when we measure the togetherness, boy, the pound is not achieved. We're several ounces short of the pound.
Warren, you think Usain Bolt made it to where he is by himself?
Absolutely not.
You think Mike McCallum became the boxer by himself?
No.
You think Bob Marley became the singer just by himself?
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
But you're missing the point.
No. What I'm going to is what you are saying. We are looking at Bob Marley, the superstar, as the individual, and we're not taking into consideration the person that worked.
No, man. Some people would, but remember there was Peter Tosh. There was Peter Tosh. There was
Georgie, where used to feed him porridge.
All of these people too.
These people are part of that
very
package.
much, of course,
part of the package,
of course,
and they are celebrated.
Yes.
But we have taken on the persona and said, why is it Usain Bolt, man? And we say, yes, no, it's not that we are celebrating. What we are celebrating, is their achievement, not the person. Because if Usain Bolt was to walk in here right now, I guarantee, a couple of people would have gotten him and say, hey, but people are saying, hey, what am I saying?
And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because guess what? We're glad that for his achievement, and the same way that he doesn't achieve, the same way we cuss him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Jamaicans don't do hero worship, and we don't do individualistic, as you're saying, because we understand that we have this from back in the days where it takes a village to raise a child.
So why we have even lost that?
No,
because right now, no. Then why is
No.
it so many of our young people have gone astray now? It seems that we're all over the place, but there's context to what we're talking about here. Why is it that so many of our young people have gone astray? There's so much things in terms of bad behavior. When I was growing up, we had to behave ourselves in accordance with certain rules and regulations that were not only applied by like your grandmother, or your parents, or your close relatives, but by the village. What is happening with that village these days?
You see, things and times have changed. The biggest supermarket in the world doesn't have a building.
Yes,
the biggest taxi operator in the world don't own a car.
You were.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can't get left behind.
Yes.
And that is what I'm saying. That is why I bring it back. I say we need.
So is that good? Is that good for us though? Because as we speak, there's so much problems that we're coming apart at the seams. Social problems. Crime and violence and all of these things. We have to take these things into consideration. Where are we going wrong? What is needed? Is it a political solution? Is a church solution? What kind of solution is this?
If the media was to dedicate, say, 40% of the space it dedicates to the negativity that is happening in the society, we would not feel so bad about ourselves. Because every time that there is a murder, right, or some negative behavior that is highlighted, I guarantee if you read through that newspaper, you come across 5 or 6 positive stuff that is inside that same newspaper, but it is not given
the prominence.
We are not a bad nation. We are not a nation of murderers. We are not a nation of scammers. Even United States, they tell you all the while. Them say 1% or 5% of the nation, right, controls the other 95.
Yes.
5% of the persons in the nigga that give trouble, they make it look as if to say, is the whole 100%? It is not, Warren. You have kids out there. You have kids out there from Cornwall College, from all these high schools, from even some of these training centers that are doing great things in Jamaica. But we're not highlighting it because it doesn't sell our newspapers. It's not good. It's not good if it doesn't make good reading.
Can the narrative be changed though through political action, social action? What is going to change the narrative?
Why you think things like Facebook, WhatsApp and so became so popular? A lot of people decide to stop reading newspapers because there was nothing good worthwhile in it. That is what these things became, because guess what? You see, very soon newspapers will become a thing of the past. Because people are not going glance through a newspaper. Yeah. People are withdrawing even ads from newspapers now. Because guess what? Why not read newspaper again? And the newspapers have contributed to their demise. If you the first thing on the headline is something sensational. Yeah. That's what they use to grab you to come inside.
Is social media going down that road too? Because we know that there's a lot of sensationalism in there as well.
It's getting there. So guess what? It too
shall suffer that.
Because guess what? I see now where there's a shift in terms of that. Even if you look at some persons and what they're posting or resharing, they're posting positive stories. They're posting stuff that has uplifting value. Yeah. And that is weird. That is what we have forgotten.
All right, Mark, we've come a long way talking about this and that. And guess what? We're going to be taking a little break right about now. And then when we come back, we'll discuss some of the issues surrounding, why we can't uplift this nation. I yearn to see the kind of things happening for Jamaica that say, well, take it out of the third world realm, because we have first world attitude, but attitude isn't everything, because it's like a man finding himself in a bar with beer money and ordering champagne. That's very ambitious of him, but it's not realistic. So when we come back, we're going to be discussing some of that. So we're going to be taking a short break. C.O.P.E will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, stay tuned. We're talking to Mark McGann.
Some businesses are the best kept secret in town, known only to a few friends and family. Advertising just can't be too much. Otherwise, Coca-Cola, KFC, and Burger King, all the big companies would cease to advertise. Instead, they advertise, and then advertise some more. Follow their good examples and let CTV introduce you to affordable, effective advertising. Don't delay. Call us today at 326-8747 or 396-6060. Advertise so they know. Advertise to grow.
These things look like, you see, the GLP comes before the councillor and Samatan and the PNP come before.
Only during the election.
Only during the election.
After the election has been won, and
yes,
then the councillor for Samatan division.
Love it, Mark. Love it, Mark. We want to see that right throughout Jamaica. All the green and the orange and thing put up. And we're all Jamaica.
After election day,
yes,
the results are announced, you become the councillor for that division.
One Jamaica. The political party, and we have to, it's unavoidable that we touch on it. The GLP take a lot of cussing and a lot of beating, but they're doing some admirable things as well,
Thank you, Aaron.
And no, just supposed to thank you, so. But it's as if there's an effort to kind of spend some time in Jamaica House and in the various houses to try and set some things right. But whilst many people see some things going right, there are many people are pointing out to many things that they see going wrong. I'm going to take it to the local level before I get back to the national. On the ground, what are some of the challenges you see in terms of retaining your seat? And what are some of the things that you came in there and you see, well, that were neglected, that say, look, my name is Mark McGann, and I have no intentions of coming and being like the next man who was here. I have to fix this and fix that and so forth. Explain that to me.
Right. You know what? It's trying to sell a bigger picture, not just an individualistic picture. You know what I mean? Because you know what? There's a lot of problems. People have their own issues, and people want sometimes, I call it self-gratification. You know what I mean? But when a man have an issue, he want his issue solved before the community issue solved. You know what I mean? So you have to find a balance. You have to find a way to solve Mass John problem, which today is hunger, I'm not the money to buy this. And then you have to find a way to solve the farmer's issue. You know what I mean? So you try and not to get too caught up in doing individual projects. But a lot of times individual projects is what gets you elected. You know what I mean? Who gets the benefit? You know what I mean? So you have to look at it and say, how can I make sure that all the benefits that are to be had, it's spread across the board, the person that really needs it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All right. We are responsible for bushing and drain cleaning. Right? So, but if I bush the road down there, I'm taking the most able-bodied person and giving them the job.
Yeah.
An able-bodied man can go look at a job otherwise, or he can go and farm.
Yeah.
So am I benefiting the person, the community that's really needing it? I would say no. But if I bush the road, I cut out for mosquitoes and I clean up the garbage, that the homeless person don't get, not homeless, but the bedridden person don't get mosquito bite or when I'm going out, you know what I mean?
That's right.
So it's a balance. And you have to be able to find that balance so that everybody can see the benefit. Because not everybody can see the benefit of a new road or a water supply. You know what I mean? It's more what you need today, where you need today. My kids need to go to school, I don't have no money to give them. You know what I mean? Can you give me a $1,500? But I know because I have to go make sure the water supply. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to find a way to balance it. But goodly enough, there are agencies to assist with that type of thing. You know what I mean? And that's what I say, I mean, and I have to talk about the party. You know what I mean? When you talk about you increase the part beneficiaries, you increase the money to schools for the school feeding program. You know what I mean? You increase NHF so the elderly can fill them prescriptions. These are things that the party is doing right. You know what I mean? Cornwall Regional Hospital. You know what I mean? I know the fumes, yes, but guess what? It's something that needed to be done. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be done and the hospital needs to be fixed. We are doing it. It's slow and the result. But Warren, how long has Cornwall Regional Hospital been around?
You know, you're jumping ahead of me in terms of even the Cornwall Regional issue, which I'm going to touch on.
Well, I just mentioned that one. I just mentioned that one because I say
in the context of all the things that you're discussing.
Right. You know what I mean? You have to look at the roadway. You know what I mean? Fixing the roads. But do you have money to fix all the roads? No. So you have to look at the worst part of the road and say, tell you what, I'm gonna fix this couple meters out of road here, so, or this bad spot. You know what I mean? And say, boy, you know, guys, the speed limit is 50. Because I've been into roadblocks already, you know. There have been demonstrations. And them say, boy, I don't want the road fixed. Fix the road. And I say, you know what? We can't fix the road right now. But we can patch out certain parts of it.
All right. If government, since you're on that issue.
I know what I had to say to them. You know what I had to say to them?
Go ahead.
The road is bad, you know.
Yeah.
You know the road bad. I know the road bad. Take time driving on.
All right. But that notwithstanding, if government was conscientious enough and mobilized communities, don't you think that on a voluntary basis we could get a lot of road fixed?
Voluntary?
Yes.
Voluntary?
Yes. Talk to me.
That sense,
Yeah.
let me not, you know what? when you have citizen associations,
Yeah.
you get that
Yeah.
sense. A person that take pride in their communities,
Yeah.
you get that cooperation.
No, but it
well,
will-
well,
go ahead.
But you
Go ahead.
I'm saying to you, man. But the little man believes that politics is about that man getting everything. So if you are to ask him to break some stones, carry some mall or so on, he wants to get paid because the perception out there is that the politician drive this big unit, you know what I mean, him live in this type of house, so money is there to be had.
So hold on now, is that a perception or is that reality? Because I'm talking about conscientious thing. That if our politicians would ease up on the big spend, what we see, because it's ostentatious and it's quite evident when politicians roll to MPs and people them see them roll, they don't close their eyes, they see them roll and see how they roll. I'm saying if we had more conscientious governance and government, wouldn't we be able to mobilize communities to do exactly that?
So you're saying, so you're using perception as a reality. So I come in here this morning
Yes.
for an interview,
Yeah.
and I see my friend Warren dressed in a nice silk shirt, a nice tie. That tie, I'm sure, costs a lot of money. Glasses, you know what I mean?
No, but first of all, you know, this is a sort of one of my kids them. So
the glasses that you have on, my friend, the frame on the glasses.
Yes.
I know that glasses cost a lot of money.
Yes.
So I should look at Warren. I'm like, Warren have it.
Yeah, well healed. Well healed.
But Warren, you dress for the part. You don't dress for the part. You dress for the part.
yeah, man, I have to dress for the occasion. eh?
Nobody's looking for the person to represent them or to, not to lead, but to be at the forefront, to look like them. So a lot of times what you see in a politician sometimes is just a perception, because that is the role that is required to get the message out. Who am I going to listen to? If you didn't tell me about the dressing,
Yeah.
so I probably wore a tie. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that if I had a tie and a nice shirt on, you'd have probably been listening to me more than you're listening to me now because of how I dress.
No.
So whenever
Not
you
at all,
have,
you know, man. Yes.
whenever you have a message to get across, there's a thing when you're doing English and in speech, right?
Yes.
It says to you that you must always make your speech to address the crowd that
You're addressing.
addressing. You have to dress the part.
Yeah.
You have to fit the part that when you step into a place to say, hey, I am MP McGann or Councillor McGann from such and such, the door is open for you.
Yeah.
So you can get your message across. I am sure there are councillors out there and even MPs out there, right, that are struggling to pay them kids school fee at university. As a matter of fact, when I decided to enter representational politics, one of the things that an aunt of mine said, and she was very upset, she said, I have never seen a councillor being buried and they're not passing around a hat. How many MPs that are to be buried, Warren, that the state had to step in and assist?
You know,
So it's a perception. No, I don't want to go down, but it's a perception. So you have to understand the perception first before you call it to be a reality. You have to understand that perception.
you know, the next time I see one of those big vehicles, I'm going to say to myself, Warren, you know, so you don't see that vehicle. It's a perception, you know. You perceive that that's a Prado, a Pajero,
Warren.
or an Audi, or whatever.
Warren,
You mean they're selling those perception vehicles?
Hold on. The Prime Minister, I think it was of Uruguay. There's this story of the Prime Minister, the President of Uruguay,
Yes.
that him drive a little Volkswagen.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes.
And he does this and he does
Oh,
that.
yes.
But you have never seen him on the world stage asking for anything.
No.
Because he don't need to ask for anything.
No, it doesn't.
But the man that needs to ask for something has to go there looking like the person he's talking to.
No, but Mark, that is a wrong way of looking at it,
No,
though.
it is not.
I would never agree
it is
with that
not.
in a
No, it
million
is not,
years.
Brian.
And I'll tell you something. If we learn to live within our means, we would operate same way as that gentleman from that country. Because what we're not getting, we're not harnessing the talent and motivating our citizens to do their very best and also preparing them, because our educational institutions are neglected. Politics. Our social institutions are neglected. Politics. And most times it is said there's no money to do this, there's no money to do that, and there's no money to do the other. Yet we have money to do some of the things that people, sensible people, look on and say, you know, that could have waited, or we could have done without that. And I am going to lead right back now to Cornwall Regional Hospital. I don't know how it is that we're going to believe that we can manage without one of the most important things that contributes to the health of a nation. The security of a nation is extremely important. There are three aspects, and I'm just going to point them out and then you address them.
No,
the security,
hold on. Here what happened. And let's be fair.
Yes.
I'm not into the Ministry of Health.
No, I understand. But I am just saying, I understand. I don't want you to go past your pay grade. No, you're not going to get there. Okay. The security of a nation, the health of a nation, and the education of a nation. And as a citizen, as conducting this interview on behalf of the general public, and as a councillor representing a political party, because remember one of the things that you spoke about, you know, collective responsibility, and it starts from right down here and ascends all the way to the top, to the very top. I would hate to know that as a representative that the Prime Minister would not be accessible and would not be able to listen to you, even if you had to go to your MP first and then take it to the other level, because we understand how the protocol is.
You mentioned it.
Yeah.
And since you threw it back at me, can we talk about the collective responsibility?
Yes, man.
All right. Lifestyle diseases.
Yes.
Right. Mosquito-borne diseases.
Yes.
Right. Are those roles of government? Are they protected by government?
Government has a role to play. Yes. But I know where you're going with that, where the citizen's responsibility.
The brutality.
Yes.
On each of our citizens, from our citizens. Is that the role of government? It is not. Why? There are certain things that, if you say collective responsibility, then we all have to play that part.
Yeah.
We eat in the food or the drink, and we toss it through the window.
Yeah.
It collects water, mosquito, we have ZICV, we have chickpea.
Yeah.
You understand? All these things now put a burden on the health system. Two people have a dispute in our community, right? You shoot a man 12 times.
Yeah.
That surgery to remove them bullets and to save that person's life is 8 hours in a hospital.
Yeah.
You understand? That is resources that could have gone to help some babies.
Probably about 100 other people could be assisted. I understand that clearly.
So it is not a government role alone. It's not. It is
Never
not.
alone. Never alone.
Government is supposed to put in the infrastructure, right, to make sure that you have access to all of these things. You understand? And to make sure that access is the best that it can be. But everybody, every Jamaican have a role to play, Warren, in terms of affecting lifestyle diseases, the airborne diseases, and the brutality against everybody else. Cornwall Regional, right, is an embarrassment.
How did it get to that?
I don't know, but guess what? What I recall, when I was a salesman, way back in the day, and I used to sell chemicals.
Yeah.
I remember that the boiler system in Cornwall Regional was not serviced for how many years? Why? Because neglect. And these are things that if you're keeping, when the forefathers envisioned a Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James and decided that they're going to put it there, that was vision. That was the biggest hospital and the biggest provider of health services in the Caribbean. Yeah. That was vision, Warren.
Of course.
What happened?
I asked you. You said I asked you. You said you don't know.
Somebody.
In a word, neglect.
Yeah.
Who? The responsibility must be borne by both political parties.
But no, it's not political alone.
Yeah.
What it should have been, Warren, is just how we're supposed to take pride in our communities with garbage and the rest of stuff that we do. Is so we must take pride in the stuff that we have. We continue to destroy our national
treasures and institutions.
Yeah.
All right,
we must have, Warren, we must, have a friend who's an accountant.
Yeah.
And I like being around this friend because of how he thinks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if somebody comes up to a public figure and he says, you know that I have a little plan that I want to pass. You know what I mean? What you can do. And he's my friend.
Yeah.
And I said, boy, you know what? I'm a friend, so I'm going to call somebody.
Yeah.
I should have told him no.
Yeah.
And these are the things that you have as a person, you have to be mindful of. You can't just make decisions based on what is good or what feels good at the time.
Yeah.
You have to make decisions in terms of
What is for the greater
what
good?
is for the greater good. Is it corruption?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is it sustainable? You know what I mean? And these are things that us as Jamaicans must take into consideration, and I guarantee if we were doing that for the past decades, we wouldn't be in the position we are in now.
All right. Are people under-educated, under-socialized, and prepared for a whole lot of things, you know? Governments, yes, very much so much. When you see somebody defecating in public in a ladder bag, tying it and throwing in one of our major town centers or whatever, for somebody to encounter it, that person isn't just a vagabond. That person is totally irresponsible socially. Had he been a different animal through education and through socialization, he would not do that. Because he would even think as far to say, well, his mother or aunt or cousin or sister or whatever would encounter that unpleasantness.
So you're selfish.
There's a lot of selfishness, and selfishness must come to narrow viewpoints. And narrow viewpoints come about through lack of education, lack of information. Our nation is not prospering in the way that it ought to, and that's why we come right back to government. The root word of government is govern. Govern means to rule. If government relies on our citizens to keep the areas clean without there being punitive measures to ensure that they do, they're going to keep it nasty. A people, allow me, a people will do what they can get away with. And I'll tell you that it even goes to people who are in more evolved societies than ours, let alone where we are educationally and socially. It's worse.
So you're saying, so Warren, you're saying that persons cannot differentiate right from wrong because of education? No, Warren. Can't be.
I want you to finish that point, you know.
No.
The government presently, hold on, the government presently, no, I want to say something. The government presently is embarking on an educational campaign about no dirty up Jamaica.
Which Warren, in any other society, you said we do some stuff that normal people or sensible people would say, but you're wasting money. Because guess what? There is no way that our government should be embarking on a sensitization program to say don't dirty up Jamaica. This should have been something that is inbred in everybody to say, listen, you can't throw the garbage over this.
We go back to education and socialization.
It can't be education,
yes,
Warren.
it must be.
So you're saying that a man can't tell right from wrong because I'm not in education? Come on, Warren.
It isn't entirely based. Hold on.
Railway lane.
Yes.
Railway lane, Barnett lane.
Yes.
Right? When you fix some houses somewhere else and you put up houses with bathroom, running water and so on, they say move into there. And people don't want to move into there because the excuse is down here so is where the hustling is.
Yeah.
That is not education, Warren.
Is what?
Eh?
Is what?
I don't know what
laissez-faire.
But it's not education.
Laissez-faire.
It's not education.
Government governing.
Because guess
build,
what?
well,
I know educated people that they say we probably use a lot about.
No, but hold on.
No.
Government builds some houses, and for the greater good, you know, it is clear that these people are supposed to move from here to here. Government don't come to a people and say, would you be nice enough to move here? Hold on. It's not like that. You are required to move from here to here on the basis of X, Y, and Z. Hold on, no. And you're moved. In our society, we ask them, could you please move from here to here? And then we sit back, and they don't move.
You know, because this is Warren Johnson
yes,
talking.
Yes.
Because I know for a fact that if government tomorrow was to grab some people, put them in a bus and say, you're moving, and I hear Warren Johnson top of his voice say, what kind of Gestapo business that?
It wouldn't work.
Yes,
couldn't work.
Warren,
I can't have it both ways.
Warren,
I can't have it both ways.
Warren, in a democratic society.
No, we do not ask people to do things that they're required to do for the greater good. I'll tell you, Mark, exactly.
Warren,
I'll tell you what, as a council, well, no, as a council.
No, repeat that.
Yeah?
Repeat that.
We cannot allow people to do things that runs against. No, listen, that runs against. That runs against what is in it for the greater good of all of us. No, don't be disappointed. No, I'm not changing it.
You know, you nearly come across a while ago.
No,
nearly.
Mark, you're not having me. I am not changing it. I'll tell you something.
It cannot be left up to education for a man to determine right from wrong. It cannot.
You don't think it has a role to play in it?
Education.
What is it that causes that man to do that?
What? He might no. You see, he might tell you say his need. He may tell you say his need.
What about the other man who, through his social conscience, his education, tells him that the consequences of doing that are dreadful not only for himself but for others? So because it's socially unacceptable.
So you're saying that government should lead with a big stick?
Yeah, government ought to lead with a big stick where it's required.
If this was in 1970s, Warren,
yes.
If this was in 1970s,
yes.
You'd be branded
yes.
as a communist and probably thrown out of Jamaica.
Well, let it be said, because in 2018.
Because you're saying to take away the rights of citizens. You cannot do that, Warren. You cannot take away the rights of citizens. You cannot, listen, a man, you cannot advocate to think for a man. You can't do that.
All right.
You can't do that. We have a Westminster system,
yes.
which everything must lead to a vote. Election, decisions. Right? It's not one person make the decision.
Yes.
Any one person was making decision, you Warren would be one of the first person that go out on the street with a billboard.
Yes.
I say dictator.
No.
Dictator, because
it
has been started already.
Yes, serious.
Yes, Warren, it has been started already. Warren, everybody, you see, we blame, because we get a little education, we blame our socialization for the ills that we do of the society.
Yeah.
Right? And we never at all, we always try to rationalize when you go wrong.
Yes.
You know, and nobody is playing upon the conscience to say this is wrong. You know what I mean? Everybody wants better for themselves.
Yeah.
Or should want better for themselves. You understand? It is one of those things that is built in the Jamaican psyche. Listen, Jamaican slaves went away to Haiti and caused problem, you know.
Yes.
We have always wanted better for ourselves. You understand? When did we lose that? When did we beat down on our people to make them accept subhuman conditions as normality? Warren, we feed our nation through the media and other ways too much negative. We tell our people that they are not worthwhile. And that is a problem. It's not a government problem. It's not a government problem.
All right.
Because, listen,
what is the role of government?
Warren, if my MP and myself, right, decide that we are advocating that every student that does GSAT and gets a 90, it is known, gets 90, you're going to pay your school fee, you're going to buy your books, and you're going to make sure you go to school.
Yeah.
That is not advocating to tell him say him not worthwhile. That is telling everybody to say, listen, we never say 100, you know.
Yeah.
Because we say 80.
Yeah.
Because that's an attainable mark.
Yeah.
So we said strive, uplift yourself, strive for this 80.
Yeah.
When you get there, you'll be rewarded.
Yeah.
You understand? So what is stopping anybody now to strive for that?
It's unfortunate that government believe in a lot of instances in being hands-off when they should be hands-on, and being hands-on when they should be hands-off.
So government should be everything where it all.
No,
all it means
government need to understand their role. Remember I told you, the root word of government is to govern. You rule the society on behalf of a citizen, and what is in the greater good of the country is what ought to prevail. We have such social situations, for instance, church does it, and the little man with him sound system, string up, and they make a huge amount of noise. And there's no one, the state does not intervene to give quietude and peace of mind to the person who is affected, because pretty much it's a free-for-all society. The laissez-faire gets to a point where it becomes troublesome and you can't talk about trampling on somebody else's rights. Your rights and mine starts and stop where it crosses the line and start to interfere with the rights of somebody else. Government, wait. I mentioned it, you know. We have created a society of conflict. If the state, if for instance, you and I are neighbors, and you park your vehicle in my parking spot in front of my house, I shouldn't have to come and tell you to move your vehicle.
But that's a that's a personalized thing. But let me say something to you. Zozo. See? Zozo. Clearly defined principle. It's written out what Zozo is.
Yes.
Right? It's written.
Yes.
The symbols of it is there, what it is meant for. The morning of Zozo, Warren, every single media house in Jamaica, and this I'm not talking from the government, I'm talking from what Mark McGann saw. Every single media house from Jamaica was inside Mount CLM. I know what they were asking. Whose door got kicked off? Who was brutalized? The opposition set up a hotline for abuses.
Yes.
That was not what Zozo was for. And everybody backed off of Zozo and left it. Now you can't get a word in unless it's something negative because there was nobody heads being cracked, there was no doors being kicked down. Social intervention. How many people get on PATH program? How many persons were taught to write resumes? How many persons were put on NHF? How many people were sent for skills training? Nothing in the media. Because what we were expecting or what we wanted to feed the nation was the police force was brutalizing the people, were kicking off doors, and human rights were being abused. And that is what we went out there to find. And when we never find it, we never business with it. We say it's failure, it now work.
All right.
That is what, listen, the government of the day did what it was supposed to do. It did a social intervention.
Yeah, but if it backed off on the basis of that, then it's not governing.
It never backed off up to now, Warren.
I know Zozo is still in place.
JSIF and other agencies, SDCs running programs up in Mount CLM. JSIF is doing wonders in Mount CLM. Ask how much people have gotten them national ID. Ask how many people have done resumes that went on skills training. We don't want to hear that. What we want to hear is the abuses meted out by the police onto the citizens so we can blame the government and say your policies are not working, and that is what we're feeding our nation and we need to stop it because we need to highlight, Warren, the positives. I went to a domino match up in Mount CLM, right? I went to a domino match up in Mount CLM. They put on by the STC and I saw all the streets that they were in war were sitting down and they mount them on and play domino. Not one gunshot. Not one murder. Is that failure?
And the police, and the police, how close was the police and soldiers? They were right there. They were right there. Of course.
They were playing.
Of course. Well,
Warren,
that is something that has been needed a long time.
You see, in a society that where St. James was, no gunshot, no death, Warren, it's a success.
No, but hold on. In the struggle for political one-upmanship, and the ability, and the ability to run things and to rule. And this happens on both sides of the fence. All of these games are being played. So it's a political football.
Right. So you as media need to find the positives in what is going on and say, wait, hold on there. Yeah, man, I hear what you're saying. But guess what? Let me ask you a question, Mr. Politician, from whichever side. How has the PATH program affected the residents of Mount CLM? How has the NHF, how has the skills training affected the citizens? These are the questions that we should be asking. But when we go to our thing, we said, how many guns you find? How many wanted men? No.
Because that is their interest. When I call you here when I call you here to talk, I want you to talk broadly on the good, the bad, and the in between. And I am very much interested, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are interested in the good as well. So the focus is not to say, well, okay, to spread negative vibes. Those who have that agenda, they know why they have the agenda. And it is clear, because it's a game being played. What we want to do is to ensure that we're being truthful, we're being positive, we're putting things in place that are sustainable, because it can be a firecracker kind of thing in our club. We need to take a look at the social condition of our society address those things as well. And rule of law and law and order don't come about by some simple and sustainable measures. Whatever is being put in place must be sustainable, because the minute you pull forces and direct them somewhere else, the big question is asked, what happens next? You understand? So the whole thing has to be looked at in full context. The development of the people in Jamaica, we've been trying, and I want to say this and I want you to address that as well. We've been trying very hard to develop a country and leaving the majority of people behind, underdeveloped. Whereas if we develop the people will seize the bull by the horn and help to develop the country. Government don't get it yet.
Fine. I saw an article in the Observer the other day, and they were celebrating a new principal and his impact that he had on one of our neighboring high schools.
Yes.
And I was disappointed. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you put a person in a position to lead, that is what is expected of him.
Of course.
You understand? If he doesn't fulfill that expectation, you get rid of him.
Yeah.
You don't go to and say, look at what this man has done.
Yeah.
That's what he was hired to do.
Precisely.
You know what I mean? So why are we looking at the instances of some people being successful because of their area code and so on, and some people when they make it, right, is because he come from this area, so he was not supposed to have made it, but now that he has made it, let us celebrate it. So if I am one of those kids that come from one of the schools that you expect it to do, and I can't do it, I'm doing better than the person that you say
gone to traditional school.
Right. I feel bad.
Yeah.
Because guess what, how him get the newspaper, I may do better than him and I can't get the newspaper.
These things happen. But it's the same for government.
No,
whether it's local. If the Prime Minister the Prime Minister going to get some licks. And he must take them licks. And I'm going all the way to the top now. Because if he does well, that's what he's supposed to do.
Exactly.
He was elected
to
run the country in the best way possible.
Exactly.
So that means there mustn't be any complaints when him get him licks. Same with Councillor Mark McGann. If you get some licks.
And I agree, I take it.
Yes, because your job is to run.
To the drawing room,
yes.
Table, go back to the drawing table and wheel and come again and
Mark,
say, okay, I did that wrong.
You know you're a fair man.
I don't have no choice.
You're a fair man.
I don't have a choice.
You're a fair man.
But guess what? What I want is that when it goes well, you know what I mean? Collectively,
yes.
they said, yes, you have done well, in you I am proud.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But we don't know skip over it and say, no man. Just like when you lick him,
yes.
say yes.
For the betterment of the nation, we want to join hands and move forward. One Jamaica. One Jamaica. With all the political one-upmanship, the sabotaging, the undermining and all that, wherever it comes from. How can we do that?
First of all, we have to protect the less vulnerable in our society. That's the first part. The less vulnerable in our society, and we have to set a platform and a foundation for the future.
Yeah.
You understand? There are habits now that can be broken, but there are ways and means to curb them. You know what I mean?
And I have to correct something. You said the less vulnerable. You mean the most vulnerable. We have to protect. Yeah, man. I had to correct it so that, because I know that's what you meant.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We set the foundation for growth.
Yeah.
Set the foundation for all of us as Jamaicans to benefit from all the resources that Jamaica has. You know what I mean? Give the man the education that needs education to break out of his cycle. The man that's an entrepreneur, give him the basis to go to do his entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? The man that is good with his hands, you know what I mean? Give him the resources to go do something with his hands. Provide a platform that everybody can benefit. And that's the way. That's how I'm looking at some of that.
Can the ganja liberate us? Because we have a whole lot of farmland and all that kind of stuff, you know. And the poor man is not being part of the ganja business. I mean, you might not want to touch it. Because we see some man now about to set up some ganja shops. Well, I know. Some ganja shops in Jamaica and all of that kind of stuff. And when you look, it was in the Gleaner. When you look at who is setting up ganja, and I'm talking to some people who themselves have been jailed, beaten, fined and confined for planting marijuana and that? Why isn't the market open up and say, well, within certain parameters, the people who have been involved in it know certain things can get involved? Because if we make things so expensive that, and I hate to use the term small man, big man, that the man of less means cannot get involved. Right away, it's a ruse. No, and I want you to understand it's a ruse to excuse him and exclude him.
Warren, I'm going to touch it. And I'm going to touch it, and I know say it might be a little bit unpopular. But I'm going to tell you a story. And, and I don't like parables, but I'm going to tell you a story. I used to work for a banana farm.
Yes.
I was the farm manager on a banana farm back in the day. And we had planted 200 acres of banana. They sent a gentleman from Ivory Coast to come and show us spraying methods. And we were there puffing with chests on 200 acres. We were getting to be up in the banana. So we said to the gentleman, so, you know, because who is this guy coming to teach us spraying methods? I have 200 acres. So we said, he was from the Irish. So I said, you know how many acres you have in production? Without even missing a beat, the guy said to us he had 2,000 acre farms in production.
Okay.
2,000 acre farms. Not one farm in Jamaica is 2,000 acres.
All right.
As a matter of fact, quite honestly, if we put up the total acreage of banana in Jamaica, I doubt to come to 4,000 acres. All right? I said this to mean this. Reality is different from perception. In Spain, the local farmer in Spain cannot sell his product in the local market without permission from the government. Why? They have gone now to using GMO seeds and seeds, and if you're not using those seeds, you can't. What you're looking at in Jamaica, now I must be honest about it.
Yeah.
Is this the local ganja that man is planting? I bet you it is not. I bet it is seed given from overseas, so it is acceptable where he's sending it.
Yeah.
And you must know the difference. We must come to the difference.
But why is that being allowed on our turf? Why am I not going to plant it somewhere else?
Hold on. Why? When you're doing the North-South highway, it was given to overseas persons. I'm not calling your name, I'm not calling your name. It was given to overseas persons to do. Why was that done? Because we never had the ability to do it ourselves.
No, we never had the resources to do it. But we have the resources to grow ganja, man. Yes, man.
Because, Warren, we are not the end users of the product. We are not the end users, you know. You see, when we used to smuggle it, well, not we,
So the man will come from wherever I'm come from. We're not going to plant the ganja somewhere else.
Warren. When we used to, not we, when it was smuggled.
Yes.
Right? When it was smuggled. Right?
Yes.
The end user then of the product was not the same market that this man is growing it for. Right? That was a liquor man that was using recreational marijuana. And he wanted a spliff and so on. So we used to have a market to supply to.
Yeah.
Now it's not that same market anymore. This is now for medicinal purposes. It is for making oil. It is for making all different type of things. So we can't be thinking the same small way. We're going to put 2 acres of weed up in the bush and go and put it on our... No. It has outgrown that. You understand? So the man that have the knowledge of this thing needs to find him partner or investor the money that he needs to make out of it, right? And go into business.
All right.
The market is different. It's not the same person we're sending it to anymore.
You know about these small ganja shops that are going to be set up?
In Jamaica? No,
yes.
I have no idea. I don't use marijuana.
Well, no, I know. So I am letting you know that the small ganja shops that are going to be set up, and they're called the Kaya shops.
Bob Marley again?
Yes. Okay. And so they probably bought the rights.
Says Jamaican?
No.
We can't use Kaya.
They buy the rights.
You have to get the release
but
from
the rights is not for Jamaica. They buy it from the pertinent source.
Junior Gang, Damian Marley.
Yeah.
The brand Kaya is his.
Yes.
So it probably is his shop. So it probably is investor.
No, they buy the rights, but the Kaya shops, the person who is fronting it, and I can tell you, is not Jamaica.
Is it to the recreational user abroad?
Recreational users who are right here, and I'm sure they'll be targeting visitors. I don't know if me and Miguel and some other people will be able to go into these Kaya shops to smoke. We have to be very careful. Government is sending a message, and I'm not just talking JLP, PNP, both of them send a message to our people from time to time that a lot of things that are happening here, our citizens are excluded from it.
Warren, I'm not saying that you're not, say, a percentage correct.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, Warren, it's a myth. You know what I'm saying? There's land in Jamaica.
Yeah.
prime land in
Oh,
Jamaica.
of course, plenty.
Right? That no Jamaican that has made money and made good money out of Jamaica has decided to invest in it, how foreigners have decided to invest in it. And I have a problem with that because I know people out here have the money. I like Butch Stewart.
Yes.
I like Mr. Issa because they decided to invest in them country and build the brand that they have.
Tourism is their thing. Them now go into the cane thing and certain other little things. Them like the sweetness of what it is that they're doing right now.
So on
that note, we want to end on the perception. And as we talk with the director, perception is different from reality. What I want to do, what I want to do is to ensure that one of those perceived high-end vehicles don't run over me while I'm standing in the middle of the road. Because if it's a perception, I'm sure it should be able to drive by me without any problem. Perception and reality is what we've been talking about with Mark McGann, and it has been a wonderful conversation. And I think there's more to come. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another edition of C.O.P.E, and I'd like to thank Mark for taking time out of his busy schedule to be here with us for this lovely banter. Respect due every time. All the time. And we learn and we keep on striving because that's how it should be.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Friends forever, man. And that's the way it is. One love.